In this video, I'm going to be fixing some of the biggest problems you have when it comes to talking to camera. All of these are from comments left on my Talking to Camera series of videos. Let's dive in. A lot of comments on how to avoid crutch words. Crutch words are basically words that you say all the time, like I just said basically, but the big one, and I'm getting this in there really early in this video, and if you say it a lot, you got to subscribe to the channel. That's the deal. We'll check on it digitally. I guarantee you, you are saying the word so a hell of a lot. Basically is one, as, we're going to talk about those separately, but the word so is a huge crutch word, and people think that it's impossible to get rid of. It's not. If you watch back your videos, you'll probably identify a pattern of where you're about to say the word so. And once you're aware of it, then you're going to be able to address it. Now, the quickest way to remove it is in the edit, but depending on where you go, so I was talking, that's a really hard edit and it'll just sound really weird. The best thing to do is, generally so is almost used like a full stop. It's almost used like punctuation. What you need to do is just stop, be aware that you said it, and go back and redo the line. That's the best way to avoid crutch words, because your brain eventually goes, I'm so tired of going back and saying the same damn line. This is an interesting one. A lot of people feel that they're a little bit dull or the energy is low when they're talking to camera. You cannot talk to the camera when your energy is down. You can talk naturally, but you just gotta project a little bit. The best thing I can suggest is talk to the person that's behind the camera. So you got to talk a little bit louder. But the thing to remember here is that we've all had the mopey friend who's, complaining about how they ruined their dinner because they ate it with rubber gloves and it tasted awful and they're all mopey. And you're like, will you ever shut up? And that's your friend. So can you imagine, I just said so. Can you imagine a stranger on the internet that has no tolerance for you because you're a stranger? They're gone really quickly when it's low energy, because I hate to say it, when you're down in the dumps, it's misery loves company. So you don't want to project that through the lens into somebody else, because just leave the video go. Just go, I'm gonna do it another time. Just put it down. But you gotta bring the energy up, whether that's dancing around the room, shouting, jumping, doing whatever. You gotta bring in the energy up. It doesn't have to be over the top, because if it's over the top, it sounds like you're out of your mind. And that's really annoying. There's lots of questions about not looking at the camera. See, your eye lines are so important. You have to look at the actual lens. I get it, there's a screen over there, and right now I'm trying my hardest not to look at it. But you just have to stop. Now, what I suggest for this, for people who are struggling at looking away from the camera, you're looking at the red light, you're looking at all of this stuff that you're looking at. You look at it once you press record, and that's it. So you check your, did I say so again? You look at the screen, you look at your tally light if you've got one, the red flashing light. You look at the screen before you're going, before you're firing out whatever message you're bringing to the world. That's all you got to do. Thing is, nothing has changed. The more you look at the screen, it's a distraction, because it's going to break your flow, and it's completely distracting. But if something has changed, like something's fallen off the wall, you'll hear about it. If it's on fire or something behind you, you'll smell it, or you'll feel extremely warm. But otherwise, forget about it. Now, the real important thing here, and I can't tell you this hard enough. Does that make sense? I'm talking to my invisible cameraman. Eyes are how we connect with other humans. And that's it. If you are talking to somebody and you're not looking at them, if I'm like looking over here and I'm talking to my wife, she's going to pick up a frying pan, a cast iron one. Seriously, eyes are the connection to the soul. I know it's such a cliche, but that's how we communicate. Eyes. And the lens is just another set of eyes. Or maybe just one big eye, but you get what I'm saying. Eyes are connecting. I find this one kind of fascinating. It's around voiceover. There is a huge problem with recording voiceovers if you don't do it right. And a lot of videos do start with a voiceover, and they're pretty damn engaging. However, if you go from recording a voiceover and then wait a day or two to do the rest of your video, or maybe you've recorded your video and like, oh, I need to do some voiceover, there's an issue. If you know you have to do a voiceover, do it right now. So if I was going to do a voiceover, I'm going to do it in this position, I'm going to do it with this energy, I'm going to do it at this time, the exact same time you're recording the video. Do the voiceover either before or when you're actually after finishing the video. Because the energy, it's impossible to match the energy every time. You might get close, the tone might be better, it could be worse. It's impossible to match. What you can do though is by doing it all at the same time, at least the acoustics, I know that's very arty, but the room sounds the same. The mic position sounds the same. If I come back and do this tomorrow, a voiceover, then this mic may be over here or it might be down a bit and it just doesn't sound exactly right. And if it doesn't sound exactly right, then your audience is going, huh? That didn't sound right. And that can act as an exit point. I don't mean this in a patronizing way, but a lot of you are afraid of the camera for whatever reason. And I get that too. If you look at your parents or elderly folk or people who are a lot older than you, they're like, oh, the camera. It's just one of those things that's kind of wired into us. Now, if you're making YouTube videos or making any type of content, the thing to do is press record and don't drop your phone with all the questions. Press record and then do whatever you have to do, whether it's looking at the screen, whether it's fixing yourself, checking the screen for fluff or dirt or anything. Doesn't matter if it's recording for 2 minutes or 5 minutes or maybe even 10 minutes. Do your warm up, do your just get loose. Don't meme that. That's all you have to do. Just have it going, because the thing is, when people hear the ding of a record button, as soon as they press that button, it's like, they're stiff. That's a huge problem, and it's a trigger. If you press the record, I was going to say so there, but I didn't. If you press the record button and just arse around and do all the things that you could do and just relax and just be chatting to the camera mindlessly, then you're relaxed. There's no instant trigger because you've given yourself a buffer of 2 to 5 or 10 minutes or whatever the case may be. And that is a really good thing. That's a huge tip. I've never heard anybody talk about that. Press record well before you're ready to go. All right, somebody get me that phone. To keep at this point for a moment, Squishy Tishy for Life had a point of he finds the camera very intimidating. No, I get that. So go back and the last tip there will fix that. But he also talks about how he wants to give his girls a better life, and that's why he's making YouTube content. Good for you, Squishy for Tishy, or whatever you're called. Thing is, the camera don't care where you look, because this person just is looking away from the camera. They're very intimidated by looking into it. The camera don't care. It's just there. You've pressed record. It doesn't care. The lens is just another pair of eyes. I've said that earlier on as well. That's how you're connecting to people. But you're talking to somebody. I'll put it like this. Squishy for tishy for... If you were talking to your girls that you want to give a better life, you're going to talk to them, to their face, to their eyes. You're not going to talk to them and look away from them. Talk to who's in there, who's behind. Please try. Please, for the message and for what you want to talk about. People deserve what you've got. Just look them into the eye. Confidence to camera is a really, really big thing for a lot of people. We've discovered that people are just intimidated for millions of reasons. But it's not something that can be crippling. It's something that you can actually fix. In the next week, I am going to be launching a very exclusive camera confidence cohort. This is going to bring everything together. Not only will we be going through calls every single week to help you get better on camera, we're going to talk about how you structure your videos, how to deliver the content, what your message is, and also everyone that's going to be joining this cohort is going to get an exclusive, that sounds a bit like, we're going to do a one-to-one as well. It's going to run for 4 weeks. There's going to be a ton of stuff in this. If you are serious about talking to camera, please check out the link in the description. It's just going to explain a little bit more about the camera confidence cohort that I'm doing. You don't have to pay anything right now. Click the link, take a look. If it's for you, go for it. If it's not, then we're still friends. Teleprompters. I loved the idea of a teleprompter. I was sent one many moons ago. There's a video on the channel and I thought it was great and I ran with it for maybe 5 to 10 videos. Super typing out everything that you were going to say. And then when it came to saying it, I just felt it was a little bit, but I felt they sucked the life out of the personality of me. If a teleprompter works for you, great, good for you. But it takes years of practice and years of constantly working with a teleprompter. Most of the folks who read the news, they're always talking and dealing in misery, right? They're reading off a teleprompter. Sometimes it's easy to see, but their delivery is good. You don't see their eyes moving. I work with people in the professional world with teleprompters. A lot of them struggle. But the one kind of compromise I've always made with teleprompters is that if you're anyway competent of just like blah, 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 talking, then just having bullet points on a teleprompter in front of you can work wonders, where you know I have to go here, here, here. And if you are stuck, you can just go to the next bullet point. Because the last thing you want is somebody, you're reading something along the things there and your eyes are going all over the place. And people are like, what the fuck? Is the teleprompter and you a good connection? Is it really your personality that's shining through? As I said, if they work for you, I just didn't like it. I just felt it just made everything just too stiff. Should you do retakes? Absolutely. If you're using one of the crutch words and you identify, just stop and just go again. That's just another take. However, if after 5 or 6 times you just can't get it for whatever reason, you just can't get the line out, then you need to stop. Because the more you do the retakes, the more you're going to get frustrated. You are not being paid millions of dollars to make one YouTube video like a Hollywood actor who can do 50 takes. Because, yeah, just take a break for 5 minutes. Go out, stick your head out the window, take a breath of fresh air, whatever the case may be. The moment you feel yourself getting frustrated, stop. I don't know how many times when I was back doing talk show on the radio and I was doing a lot of voiceover stuff, the amount of times you do a retake and you're like, oh, you just stop, walk away, come up with some little ritual where you do a lap around the block, walk up the door, come back in. That's what I used to do, that's what I still do. And then you're kind of just bringing yourself back down and then go again. And if you're still stuck, there is more than one way to say one thing. Just rewrite it, or just get ChatGPT to come up with another way. Just go, hey, my Skynet overlord, give me another way to say this line, because I just can't say it. And that's perfectly fine. Old channel no longer active? Cool name, but their question is very valid. They kind of have the exact opposite problem that a lot of folks have, and they go into presentation mode. They have a film crew and they go into presentation mode, and it just sounds awful. I don't know if this is an Irish thing, but I know my mother and lots of my friends' parents, they'd put on their phone voice. So they might be talking away like that and the phone would ring and they go, oh, hello, yes, and this is the Barry residence. And you know who that is there? Someone for you. Who shall I say is calling? Okay, Johnny. Johnny for you. It's just one of these weird things that people go into presentation mode or posh phone voice. It's one of those things. I would think for old channel no longer active that the presentation mode is because there's a film crew there. It's an authoritative thing. It's just a crutch. You just feel that you have to do it. I would suggest try it without the crew, or get the crew to just go into the bushes or just walk away. The more you talk to the camera at home, on your own, you'll eventually weed out the presentation mode. I would think a lot of it has to do with the crew, and good for you, but that's the thing. And you have to acknowledge that you're going into presentation mode, because at least you're bringing yourself up. You're going into presentation mode, you're flicking the switch. You just gotta find another switch to flick. And you're still going into presentation mode, but it's no longer presentation mode, it's just, I'm on mode. That was extreme. Gotta say, I feel bad for Ian on this one, and this is something that a lot of people will fall into as well, and they're overthinking what they're going to say to the fact where it's crippling and they can't say nothing at all. Please, this is YouTube for the best part. At the end of the day, a mistake is a mistake. Just accept that mistakes are mistakes. You can take it out in the edit, you can do it again, you can scrap the video. It is not worth crippling yourself with stress and overthinking the heck out of everything. Please don't. I spend an awful lot of my life overthinking stuff, and it never turns out the way I overthink. Please just stop. Take a break, as again, go back to an earlier point, walk away, do whatever. At the end of the day, this may not be for everybody, and that's okay too. Not everybody has to talk to a camera. You can do the faceless channel if you want to make content. The moment you start overthinking, please just recognize it and go, I'm overthinking this. And then you're like, I'm afraid to say something. And then you go, what am I going to do? Once that panic sets in, that video's over. You're then making it for the sake of it because you feel you have to. Tomorrow's another day. Jeff's way sucks to talk on the camera. I don't buy that for a minute, Jeff. Jeff's way. I just don't. I'll put it like this. It's just like anything that you want to get even okay at. You gotta keep doing it all the time, all the time. I can't stress this enough. If you pick up a camera like once a month or once every 2 weeks or once a week, it's no good. It's just no good. It's like going to the gym once a month. It's no good. The more you do it, you don't have to publish everything you record, but if you do it every night or every day for an hour, just make it part of your routine, then you won't suck at it. But I just don't believe that for a minute. Have a little bit of self-belief, Jeff, because I'll put it like this, my friend. If you can talk to another human, and let's face it, that can be freaking hard too. And I'm really introverted, believe it or not. I fake it on days out or nights out or whatever, and I'll talk to whatever off of whoever, but inside I'm dying. If you can talk to another human in any capacity, you can talk to a camera. It might be easy for me to say, but I've been doing this a long time. All the time. Put in the recs, as we say. Not the reps, put in the recs. And then, merch in below in the description too, by the way. Put in the recs. Off the cuff and winging it. I've been in scenarios where I've given a script to CEOs and founders and they've turned around at the start, go, we'll be fine, we'll just wing it. And in fairness, they winged it eventually. The thing is, if you're really capable, you might be able to wing it. You might be able to go off the cuff, not for an entire video, but the more you do these things, you know I have to say this and I have to say that, and then there's no script can kind of help you out because you know what you have to say. However, you do need some bullet points. You need a little bit of thought process beforehand. You need to know I need to get from A to B. How do I do that? What's in the middle? And that's, yeah, I think winging it and off the cuff is great if you eventually are capable. I'm not sure I'm capable. These answers are not off the cuff. I've thought about them, but the delivery is not from a script. No teleprompter. I'm just going with it. And the thing is, if you are winging it or going off the cuff even for a part of the video, it really only works if you're passionate about what you're going to wing it about. If you know what you're going to wing it about, then you can talk. But best practice at bullet points at the very least to get you from A to B. Something that may just get you to point C is this video. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, there's only a couple of days left. If you're interested in the camera confidence cohort, the link is in the description.